Hi, welcome to Sunday, September 29th of 2013. I'm going to ask you, if you will, to put on a set of philosophical eyes for just a brief perspective of the word Apple. In your today's Los Angeles Times business section, there is an article by the editor or articles writers named Chris O'Brien and Jessica Guinn, and it's spelled G-U-Y-N-N, is Jessica Guinn. The article is titled, Is Cupertino Sacrificing Its Core to Apple? Welcome to Appletown, USA. Apple's phenomenal success and expansion into buildings across this city over the last decade have already made it hard to know where Cupertino ends and the company begins. But just wait. By the time Apple plops a campus the size of the Pentagon into this city of 60,000 people, Cupertino, California, will be more economically dependent on one company than any other Silicon Valley town. 2 years after the project was announced, as the details have come into sharper focus, it's almost impossible to overestimate the effect Apple Campus 2 will have on Cupertino. Apple envisions the 176-acre campus as its own fortress of solitude that will cut off Northeast Cupertino from the public. This week, the city begins a series of hearings to grant final approval for the project. The hearings and a development agreement under negotiation represent the city's best chance to set the terms of its relationship with the company for decades to come. Although Apple is eager to move forward on a project already behind schedule, the city must consider what concessions it wants before tying its economic fate so closely to a single company. In a high-tech area, even the most powerful companies disappear surprisingly quickly, and employment can scale down much quicker than it scales up. And Jerry Davis, a professor at the University of Michigan's Ross School of Business, there is definitely a risk. Big numbers, it says. If you read forward with me, when the new campus is built, sometime in 2016, again it's 176 acres in the town of Cupertino, and they say that you can barely tell where Apple Corporation begins and where Cupertino begins and ends. So Apple is apparently buying a piece of land the size of a town that holds 60,000 people. That's not in the article. Let's go on with the Jerry Davis. He's a professor at the University of Michigan. He says there's definitely a risk. When a new campus is built sometime in 2016, Apple will cast a larger economic shadow over Cupertino than even internet search giant Google does in any nearby Mountain View. The numbers contained in a recent economic impact report commissioned by Apple tell the story. Apple's 16,000 employees in Cupertino made up 40% of the city's jobs. When the new campus opens in 2016, Apple projects 24,000 Cupertino-based employees. Apple paid $9.2 million in tax revenue to the city in the last fiscal year, about 18% of the city's budget. Apple predicts that will grow to $13 million. Apple currently accounts for 9.6% of Cupertino's property tax valuation, up from 1.21% in 2001. The new campus will triple its value. Stephen Levy, director of the Center for Continuing Study of the California Economy in Palo Alto, says there is a little risk of Cupertino being too dependent on Apple. After all, this is Silicon Valley, where one-time giants fall and are replaced by hot young startups. I doubt that Apple will all of a sudden move their design and headquarters to Nashville, Levy said. His name may be pronounced Levi, it's L-E-V-Y. It might also be pronounced Levy. Levi said. Still, the company seems more vulnerable than it did 2 years ago when the project was first proposed. Seems more vulnerable. Company, Apple, seems more vulnerable than it did 2 years ago when the project was first proposed. Its stock has fallen about 30% in the last year as growth has slowed. 6 months ago, I would have said if we were going to rely on one company, this would be the company to rely on, said Cupertino Mayor Orrin Mahoney, a former Hewlett-Packard employee. But things can change fast in this business. Prestigious address. It goes on to talk about, and this is the end, so we'll go ahead and finish it. It's 3 pages, but Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, who grew up in nearby Los Altos and went to high school in Cupertino, originally didn't even want to put his company here. In the 1970s, a feed and grain mill hinted at the town's rural roots. Apricot orchards flowered alongside young computer companies. Jobs learned for the cachet of Stanford University, which helped give rise to HP. He rented a post office box in Palo Alto to lend Alto more prestige, recalled early Apple employee Daniel Kotke, and he scouted Los Altos for headquarters with a higher scale address. Unable to find anything, Jobs settled on Cupertino. It continues forward, but before we continue forward, I'd like to ask you to reevaluate the cost of an Apple product, which you can't buy any Apple computer or any Apple laptop for less than $1,000. You can buy a computer which contains Microsoft Office, Word, connection to the internet, memory ability, and photographic ability for approximately $300 to $500, depending upon the megapixel quality, and they all come with warranties. Concerning customer service, my personal experience with Apple has been absolutely awful. I mean, awful, awful, awful. They hold your memory. Like, I have so much memory that's held in Apple stock in their iCloud, I can't access it anymore. And they say in order to access it, you must also purchase this new upgraded item. They upgrade items so often that one can't keep up unless they have a lot of extra money to just toss out the window. By saying that, I mean every 6 months they'll say, oh, that item is no longer compatible. We need an extra $20 to $50 from you to purchase this additional item. Or 3 years after you purchase the $1,500 computer, they say, oh, this is not compatible with their iCloud service. You have to purchase an entire new computer. And God forbid your logic board or motherboard on a $1,000 computer that does the same thing that the $300 computer would do would go bad, because Best Buy will tell you, buy a new one. You can't go into that because Apple has the ability to not obtain viruses because it runs off of a slightly different software. So, as we contemplate the article in today's Sunday 29th of 2013 LA Times article, is Cupertino sacrificing its core to Apple, and it's telling you that it's planning to put a facility, an organization there that is almost the size of Cupertino itself. And Cupertino's excited because in the past they received a lot of revenue and income from Apple. Of course, it's going to create jobs, but it's also going to fail if companies such as Samsung, I'm speaking on a Samsung Galaxy Note phone as we speak, and it does the job just perfectly and has given me no problems through T-Mobile service. I wish you the best. If you have any say-so in what companies or businesses are coming to your local area, is Apple's software really, really worth the extra $500 to $600 you pay for their product? Is Apple's customer service really worth the extra $500 to $700 you pay for their product? I think no. Have a great day and enjoy your choice in whether or not a big industry such as Apple has the right to access and hold your memories in their iCloud, and whether or not you're paying a service for something that is really worth the while. Have a great day, and this is Michael signing off. Bye-bye.